Welcome to another edition of INN CEO Talks. Joining me today is Alf Stewart, and he is the chairman and the director of corporate development for Searchlight Resources, which trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol SCLT. Searchlight Resources is a resource exploration company with a growing portfolio of high-quality, advanced stage exploration projects close to existing infrastructure in Canada's premier mining jurisdiction, that being the province of Saskatchewan. Yes, Saskatchewan. Now, for the company, it's a remarkable turnaround because just 3 years ago, the company was considered to be stagnant. However, Searchlight has reemerged under the guidance and direction of CEO Stephen Wallace with a focus on 4 strong Saskatchewan properties, along with new funding and active exploration. The company's flagship property is the Bootleg Lake Gold Project, and it's located in one of the most productive areas for gold in the province of Saskatchewan, where 4 small-scale mines have already produced high-grade gold. It's a prolific area. And there's more. The company just announced additional staking of its 36.4 square kilometer claim on the Qiqavik Lake uranium mine. The additional stake increases the company's claim area to more than 61 square kilometers. The company's been very busy. So joining me now is Alf Stewart, the chairman and vice president of corporate development. Alf, you really have been busy, haven't you?
We have indeed, Stewart. We're really excited and engaged in Saskatchewan on a number of fronts.
So what happened? How come there's been this dramatic turnaround and that you've been able to zero in on such high-value properties?
It's basically Stephen Wallace. He is one of those engineers who is remarkable in his ability to identify early-stage opportunities. And Saskatchewan really hasn't been at the forefront of exploration success in the recent few years. There's been many discoveries elsewhere in Canada that have distracted investors from the tremendous bounty that we see in Saskatchewan. And Saskatchewan's really well known for uranium, but possibly less well known for gold and other elements that we're exploring for. So we're basically taking advantages of opportunities that other people have not recognized.
Well, yeah, I know that in Saskatchewan that there has been this move into gold production where people had been unaware of it. But there's also a movement into rare earth materials as well, or metals, isn't there? And I know that you're focused on that as well.
That's right. And it's an advantage because Saskatchewan is the highest grade uranium producing area in the world. There's this Athabasca Basin, which has multiple high-grade uranium mines. And it just turns out that rare earth elements also occur in deposits that are radioactive. So if you're exploring for uranium, you do radioactive surveys. You fly instruments that detect radioactivity, and oftentimes, instead of finding uranium, you find something else, and that's thorium, and rare earths are associated with thorium. So many places in Saskatchewan, you can find properties that were initially explored for uranium, but in fact have very high-grade rare earths. And we have one of the best, we think, at a property called Qiqavik Lake, which is about 60 kilometers south of the Key Lake uranium mine. It's a property that Stephen Wallace picked up by staking, so we own it 100%. It's got high-grade rare earths at surface, and it's never been drilled.
Wow. And the other, I think, unique advantage to Saskatchewan, besides being a mining-friendly jurisdiction, it also has infrastructure and ease of access to markets. And I think that this is a really important point, isn't it?
Yes. I actually joke with people that our gold property is so close to Flin Flon, you can drive through the Tim Hortons, get your coffee, and your coffee's still warm when you get to our property. Wow. And so that's a bit of a joke. But, you know, the point is, if you're developing mines, it's much better to be close to roads, infrastructure, power, water, and labor. And Flin Flon is that. And we're 8 kilometers outside of Flin Flon. So people can live in the town and they can work on our properties and go home at night. with their Tim Hortons coffee.
Well, and I think part and parcel in that equation is the fact that you've got a trained and accessible workforce.
Indeed, and this is interesting because Flin Flon is running out of ore. Flin Flon is the center of a major copper mining district. In fact, there is a zinc smelter and a copper smelter in Flin Flon. The copper smelter is mothballed due to lack of ore production to process, and the zinc smelter is there, but the mine in Flin Flon is due to shut down in the next 12 months, putting a very large labor force out of work. So the Saskatchewan government is aware of this, and they're encouraging exploration around Flin Flon through direct grants for drilling. And Searchlight, just coincidentally, has over 300 square kilometers of land on the Saskatchewan side of the border in the Flin Flon belt. And we're exploring that actively. In fact, we came out with a press release today announcing new gold assays.
Okay, you anticipated my next question. Tell us about that, please.
Okay, so our Bootleg Gold project is 8 kilometers outside of Flin Flon. It has 4 historic gold production areas, as you mentioned in your introduction. And we've just completed a 3-hole program at Henning Maloney. And we've discovered multiple gold-bearing zones with assays up to 1.1 ounces per ton in our drilling. So we're pretty excited about that.
Could you repeat those numbers for me again?
Okay, so
It sounded pretty astounding.
yeah, they're very high grade, and basically 1.1 ounces per ton, 31.5 grams per ton. And here's what we did. There's an old mine called the Henning Maloney mine, which was operated in the 1930s. It was shut down for the Second World War and has not been reactivated since that time. So we went in and drilled 3 holes close to that mine, looking for the historic structures. And as our geologists drilled through the area where the old zone existed, we got into mineralization, disseminated pyrite and pyrrhotite. And as the hole went deeper, the geology didn't change. So the geologists didn't know where to shut down the holes. So we stopped at 200 meters. So we drilled 3 holes that were 200 meters deep. Actually, the last hole was 196 meters deep. Well, at 195 meters depth, we intersected 1 meter of 31.5 grams per ton gold, 1.1 ounces. So we've basically discovered a brand new gold zone close to a historic gold mine. So we're very excited. We see a lot more potential around Henning Maloney.
I can imagine you're excited because prior to this, you were saying that it was literally visible, and now you've confirmed it.
Yes. So we've got 3 former producers, and actually they sit on the same major structure, which is called the Rio Fault. And, you know, historically gold mining in Canada has been small scale, mom and pop type operations that might produce 25,000 ounces a year, something like that. These days, the market wants 100,000 ounces per year plus, and that's the prize. But if we can develop this Rio Fault structure and find additional ore around the 3 mines, we see the potential for a major new gold development around Flin Flon. And that's what we're focused on.
Okay, Alf, then what are your plans? Do you envision building this out, or do you see vending into a major?
We're flexible. It really depends on what people in the area and other parties want to do, but definitely we have to go back and drill where we just hit high-grade gold. And as you mentioned, we have multiple other properties in our portfolio. In fact, we have 7 major properties in Saskatchewan. And basically, we want to develop drill targets on those as well. So we've got gold, as we've mentioned, but also we have copper targets. We're in the Flin Flon Snow Lake Greenstone Belt, which is the most prolific copper massive sulfide belt in the world. There are over 30 copper zinc mines that have been developed and mined around Flin Flon. It is the premier district in the world for that. We have a very large land position in that belt. We have a second belt called the Wapaweka Greenstone Belt that the government of Saskatchewan and Canada just spent multi-million dollars doing exploration survey called a VTEM survey. And we've got the core land position in that belt, and we're developing drill targets there. We also have a cobalt, vanadium, uranium property with copper near L'Orange. So we have multiple things to work on. All of our properties need further work this summer to develop further drill targets.
Wow. One of the main reasons that people tune into this program, Alf, is they're saying, okay, I hear you now. Why is now the time that I should be investing, and what's your message to them?
Well, our stock is tremendously undervalued. I'm a retired investment banker, and I have basically been an eat what you kill financier of junior mining and oil and gas companies for my whole career. And I came out of retirement because I saw a tremendously undervalued opportunity in Searchlight. We believe it's the best place in Canada to explore. We believe the exploration is significantly underdone in Saskatchewan. People have been focused on uranium and other things, but we see tremendous potential for gold, copper, and battery metals. And by the way, Saskatchewan knows how to work with battery metals because they have experience in dealing with uranium ores, which are difficult and radioactive.
Right.
And rare earth metals have the same concerns and challenges, and Saskatchewan wants to develop it. In fact, they've announced that they're going to establish a rare earths processing facility in Saskatoon, which is, I think, the very first in Canada. So having rare earths in Saskatchewan is, I think, a leg up for us. And we're tremendously undervalued. Our market cap's less than $10 million, despite all of this stuff we've just talked about.
Wow. Okay, you're sitting on the cusp of some pretty exciting news over the next few months. Will you come back and give us an update next quarter?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alf. Thanks for taking the time to, let us see a little bit inside the exciting world that you're, I don't want to say riding at the moment, because it must be quite an emotional moment right now to take a look at the results that you've had and see what the potential is.
Indeed.
Yes.
Thank you, Stewart.
Thank you very much.